Guys, I'm wondering, the last couple of games, coaches talked about the defense and working on a couple of things and trying to get a little bit better. There's been a guy in each game that's kind of gone off on you guys a little bit, and I wonder, that didn't really happen earlier in this season. Is there something you guys need to start tweaking or a way that you need to start working to, if like someone's getting hot, to try to take them out of the game a little more?
I mean, that's kind of hard to do sometimes, but I mean, we're playing against good players in a good league, and teams or players are going to get hot. And obviously, it didn't happen a lot earlier in the season, but we try and contain guys as much as possible.
Is that more of a team thing, or like
It's definitely a team thing. It's not a one-on-one thing. I think being in the gas or sliding over, helping more, definitely prevents guys from getting close to 30 or 30 or more.
Is that frustrating when you see a guy start having a performance like Palmer did for Nebraska? Or
yeah, we won that game, so that's like, it doesn't matter how many points you have as long as we win.
Fair enough.
For either one of you guys, we've heard when Coach Holtman comes in here and he talks about games you guys have played in the past, he uses the word us to describe it, and he wasn't here last year. Just when you hear that, what does that do for you, maybe earlier in the year, maybe not so much now, but earlier in the year when you hear Coach describe the team as us and not them, even though he wasn't here last year? Does that do anything for you guys?
Well, I mean, it kind of just signifies, how we feel too. I mean, everything's us. I mean, it's not like the players and coaches are separate. We're all one team. Obviously there's different parts of the hierarchy of everything, but at the same time, like, Coach will even say, in huddles up, like, this is your guys' team. I mean, this is like Keita's team, JT's team, Cam's team. Like, it's the leader's team. He's like, a lot of the times, like, it'll get to the point where we don't even have to coach. The older guys will just go to coach. And that happens a lot in huddles. Like timeouts or whatever, JT and Keita will come up and say stuff like, hey, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. And the coaches are like, all right, let's do it. And so a lot of it is an us. It's not a them or a me or whatever. It's a lot of us.
At what point did you figure out that Coach Holtman was going to make this kind of like a players program? At what point did you realize it was going to be up to you guys, and maybe they would put a lot of this on you more than maybe you might have expected?
Well, it's not just them putting it on us. We have to kind of take it, If he can't just put it on us, if we don't want it, it's not going to be a good season. We're not going to be good leaders. I think me and JT and Cam and Doc have done a great job of taking control of this team from an early on standpoint, saying, hey, the coaches can say whatever, but we have to enforce it. It's kind of policing your own team and all that kind of sense. So I think the four of us have done a great job of kind of leading this team.
Like, I was looking back at some of the numbers this season, and I was thinking back to last season, how you had the unfortunate injury on the tip, which we've never really seen before. And then I think about this year where you get hurt right before the PK 80, and I just wonder how challenging some of these situations have been for you, where you come in with expectations and goals, team goals and personal goals, but you've had to endure a lot, it feels like, in these 2 years. Like, how has that helped shape you or helped get you to where you are today?
I think a big part of it is just it's helped grow my patience a little bit. Obviously, like you said, I didn't intend to. I had a lot of high expectations for myself and for the team in both years, and then having setbacks like that. And I think this year was a little bit worse than last year because this one I was out for a lot longer. But at the same time, I think it's really helped mold my patience and mold me as a person from the standpoint of like I gotta accept that stuff. I can't get frustrated over it. I mean, like I said, I've had expectations for myself, and I still have those kind of expectations. But at the same time, certain things happen for certain reasons, and God's got a plan for everything, and I just got to trust in His plan.
The last couple of games, like thinking back to, I remember talking to you after Northwestern, obviously you had a big night that night, and then a couple of games where minutes have been a little bit harder to come by, but then the other night, the guys were saying how it felt like every time you got a rebound was a huge rebound. What has it meant to you to make the most of the role that you've been given this season when you have minutes trying to make the most of them?
I mean, that's all you can really do. I mean, is, just accept like Coach sat me down one day and we talked about it. He's like, look, I know, the expectations you've had for yourself, and we expect those out of you. But at the same time, certain situations call for certain lineups. Like a lot of the time we go small because that's the best lineup that works for us. I guess I know against Maryland we went small for almost the entire game. And, it worked. I mean, we ended up smacking them. So, and I understand, Kale's been playing very well. Once I got hurt, he stepped up and he started playing very well, and you can't take that away from him. You got to give him credit for it. So obviously it's just something that's, going forward, I just got to be able to understand and accept. And I think I have struggled with it at points, but at the same time, I think I'm definitely getting better and understanding what I need to do to help the team win.
Micah, to follow up on what you just said, what's your relationship like with Keita, just in terms of, working together, fighting for the same position and whatnot, but how do you guys kind of get along behind the scenes?
I mean, we get along fine. We have nothing against each other. I mean, if we were to have something against each other, that'd be a huge issue. No, we definitely push each other in practice. We want each other to be the best because when we play at our best, we're very hard to go up against. So that goes for everyone, not just me and Caleb. So I hope the best for him. He hopes the best for me. And I think you guys, I don't know if you guys have been able to tell, but when I play well, he's the biggest, the one that's cheering the most on the bench. I mean, he's like that for everyone, and I try to be that for him. So it's a very good relationship, and it's not we have anything against each other, but we do compete pretty hard in practice.
Coach Holtman talked the other night about turnovers. If you do that against Illinois, that'll be an issue. What else is he doing to kind of motivate you guys for this game? It's an early tip. It's team towards the bottom of the Big Ten. Obviously, maybe not come some of these games you guys have had. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay up for these games? Make sure you bring it, the intensity you guys have had for most games recently.
We just prepare the same way every game, pretty much. And I've said many times in media, but we don't take any team differently. Even though it's an early tip, we're going to prepare. We prepare, even though they're a team close to the bottom of the Big Ten. We're going to prepare for them like at the top of the Big Ten. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter who we play or where they are in the Big Ten. We're just going to prepare. We prepare.
If I didn't say they were near the bottom of the Big Ten, would you have known that? I mean, do you guys pay attention at all?
Yeah, I mean, we watch the games, so we know that. But it doesn't. I mean, there've been a lot of close games with a lot of teams, so they could easily be, probably middle pack of the Big Ten or Big Ten. Yeah.
Keita, who usually guards you in practice?
We mix it up a lot. So Kyle will, JT, Dre will whenever we switch teams. So it's a lot. I see a lot of different people in practice.
Okay. The thing I'm kind of wondering about is, you guys have a lot of guys, and Mike, you know this on your bench, that nobody off the bench scores a ton, but you guys, all the bench players contribute, and a lot of the bench guys contribute, doing things defensively or rebounding, that kind of thing. I'm just trying to get a read on some of these guys like Andre, like Musa, like Andrew, Micah. Just what do you think they're like defensively? Sometimes they come in and their main thing is they're trying to lock down other teams. What's your view on that?
I mean, they're very good defensively. I mean, especially when the first team goes against that second unit, like you said, that's a lot of those defenders that want to lock down. And Doc's really good, scout-wise or whatever. Moose is a great defender. So is Dre. So when we go against him in practice, it's hard. It's difficult to score sometimes. Same thing with Micah. So I mean, seeing that in practice every day only gets us better. I mean, it just goes back and forth all the time. Like Micah said, he and Kayla compete against each other. It's how it is for everybody.
Micah, what sense do you get from that, of that it seems like the bench on this team has played a big role, even though, I think you're averaging 4 points a game, and that's the most of anybody off the bench, but yet when you look, they're important minutes that you guys are giving this team by doing other things. Do you feel that you guys are coming off the bench and doing things even if, scoring isn't the main thing you're doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot more to the game than scoring. I mean, Keita is averaging, 19, 20, something like that. And JT averages a lot. CJ's averaging a lot. Kim is averaging a good amount. Caleb's averaging a good amount. So there's a lot. We have a lot of scoring. And so, a lot of the time when we come in, our biggest thing is just to make sure that we don't lose anything defensively. Because you can't, score. You can score, but you can't win games if you don't get stops. So our biggest thing is, playing within the office, letting the game come to us, and just making sure we lock down defensively and make sure we get stops.
After the last game, Coach Holtman mentioned you playing through contact and guys being more physical and you just adjusting as teams target you a little bit more. What have you done as the years progress to try and combat that? And maybe it's doing those other things as well. We saw it the other night, but what are you doing differently than maybe you had to at the beginning of the year?
I mean, other teams do a lot of different, matchups have me a lot of different stuff. I mean, I see double teams or shade me certain sides. So, when I recognize that early in the game, I try and figure out the best way to impact the rest of the game. So, like last night, my shot wasn't falling, so I tried to assist a little more and rebound and defend. So, whatever the game calls for, I'm willing to do. Sometimes I don't have to score, 19, 20, like Micah said, every night for us to win.
How do you feel coming out of the last game?
I feel good. Yeah.
We saw you go to the locker room with your back for a little bit, and Coach said to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, it was just a good tight from time to time, but I'm good now.
And Micah, one thing that Coach said after the game the other day too was that he felt like, looking back, that it was at the Wisconsin game that you could tell that everyone was really engaged and really everybody was kind of on board. And that was after a couple of tough losses you guys had just encountered. Do you remember anything specific about what that game felt like, or why that? He kind of pointed that as almost like a turning type of point. Did you guys feel that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think, going into the game, like, we didn't expect anything but, at least for me, I didn't expect anything but a win. I mean, I knew what we were capable of, and I knew, we played, some tough teams in PK 80, and, against Clemson where we just, we were fully capable of winning some of those games, 100% capable. And just little things that we can tweak to make better to make sure that we actually do win those games. And I think this team is very good at, growing from mistakes and learning from mistakes. And that's why we've been so good all year. Obviously, in all of our wins we've made mistakes, but we've been able to improve on those. And that's how we started off, the league 9-0. So, biggest, I definitely think that Wisconsin, understanding that the Big Ten, conference play is huge, especially when it comes to tournament time, for an NCAA standpoint. So I think we all definitely locked in when it came to the Wisconsin game, and that's why we ended up, beating them pretty good.
Obviously, it's a long season, and you're looking at the next game. But I just wondered, like you mentioned, some of those, like the Clemson game, and some of these games you feel you could have won. Do those sting you a little bit now when you think back? Like, if you played like you did now, or if you get another shot at some of those games, how different it might turn out?
Yeah, I mean, I think about that from time to time, but I don't dwell on it at all. We can't, like you said, we can't change it. It happened a couple months ago now for some of those games, so. I mean, I think we just grew from those games, and those losses kind of helped us move forward. Like you said, I mean, you started off the Big Ten 9-0, so I mean, those losses kind of helped us mold to help us grow.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.